Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the RZDxWLVS Podcast. And this is our, this is our, I guess you could say, fifth episode. I think we did start at 0, which was kind of weird. We had a 0 episode.
Did we have a 0 episode?
We do. And I don't even know if that was my idea, if that was our engineer.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like
zero episode. Welcome, everyone. To my left is the guy that actually makes this podcast more interesting, my co-host JC Coates.
How we doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
How's the weekend so far?
The weekend has been pretty good. Weekend's been pretty good.
Yeah, for me too, man. Me too.
I was in the gym this morning. I didn't want to go.
That's
but
pretty
I went
huge.
anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's you could chalk some gratitude up to that one. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I didn't. I went for a walk this morning, and then I was sore from sleeping on the couch. I'm starting to feel my age once in a while, and
Listen,
I was like,
taking a walk, man.
yeah, I went for a walk to stretch.
A lot of people can't even say that. You know what I'm saying?
That's true, man.
Taking a walk is good.
That's true. We'll get into it later about all three of us probably didn't like taking even walks not that long ago. You know what I mean? But I'm
tired already.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about this episode. This is going to be a fun episode. We're gonna jump all over the place because I got ADHD. You're the only one that's probably going to be organizing this.
Okay.
We got a special guest here all the way in from Florida. You know, Mr. Hoya Roc.
Yeah.
Hoya from
And I like that Florida part. I'm using, of course, New York City to the grave, but
yeah.
I rep Florida too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's like you can't mention, Hoya. For those who don't know Hoya, one might be living under a rock. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe you just don't know. Maybe you don't know Hoya. Hoya is, I would seriously consider Hoya one of, if not the Godfather, definitely one of the fathers of New York hardcore music. You know what I mean? Part of that scene. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I definitely an uncle.
Yeah, uncle.
You know, I'll say uncle. I'll take an uncle of that.
No,
for sure.
New York hardcore music itself has, there's always that, you hear people say that, such and such, this band or this genre of music, helped sculpt my life, helped save my life. I can honestly say that this episode is exciting for me because, specifically Madball. I mean, Suicidal was my first introduction to basically what you would consider punk rock crossover from metal, hip hop, Mike Muir and Suicidal. But, I shortly thereafter, I remember sitting on a wall in the back of the trailer park that I lived in. And I remember sitting on the wall and, there was a guy, and I don't remember the guy's name, and I wish I did because I'd probably try to find him and share this episode with him, is that, he had a graffiti magazine and he had a stack of cassette tapes in a bag. And one of them was a burned copy of Madball. And, it as soon as I popped that in and I fast forwarded around and I'd really listened to the words, Pride was on that CD. I mean, was on that cassette tape, CD.
Cassette.
You know what I mean? Cassette.
It's just a square thing with this.
Yeah, this was probably when did that album come out?
Yeah, you were 96.
96, yeah.
First record was 94, 96, and early days was 2 years in between albums.
Yeah, so I didn't know what you guys looked like. I didn't know what you guys were about. I didn't even know what that genre of music was, but I heard Pride, and I listened to some of the words, and I remember like it was yesterday, rewinding on there, listening to those words, and I got amped because I was like, whoa, they're talking about some hood shit. And here's a white kid growing up in the hood. I didn't know what ethnicity you guys were. I didn't know anything. And then I started taking a deep dive, and I'd go in the magazine section of Stater Brothers, the Market, when they would have Metal Edge and stuff like that. And there was an issue in there that showed Madball. And I was like, wow, these dudes look like me. Yeah. And then I saw on Headbangers Ball, I think it was either Headbangers Ball or one of those shows, and I saw the video. Yeah. And we're talking about lowriders and graffiti and everything like that. And I knew that I'd kind of found my home in music. So Corey, the buddy of mine, Corey Pierce, drummer for, God forbid, show him his love. I love metal, but he jokes with me all the time. He's like, I'm not going to hold that against you, that you're really just a hardcore dude that likes metal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of the story with most hardcore guys, metal guys, or that. but yeah, I know what you mean. But
and so it's been awesome getting to know now for a little while. You getting to know a lot of guys in the hardcore scene, and that's why I guess that was a very long introduction on why I'm excited about this episode.
No, cool shit. No, and thank you for that. And it's cool. We've been talking, and it's like, again, yeah, in this world, you know, it's a small world, but people don't know that the heart that this world has. That's why people like you, we can't get rid of it. Later on in life, we always got to go back to it and feel like, let's feed that fire. Because once that's in you, it's something you can't knock off. When it's more than just a music. It's like it really is a state of mind. You know 100%. The deal. I hate when people say it for like just the cliche of it, but it's a fact. You know, the hardcore movement. It's a family. It really is. It's its own culture. It's its own thing. It's a state of mind. It's more than a sound. Yeah. It's more than a specific club. You know, it's the way you walk in life, the way you treat, and the way you interact with other people with the same, mindsets. That's the special superpower we talk about. You see somebody with an agnostic front shirt, and if you're a hardcore person, you really know, the people that are really into the music will know that band. Like, let's say compared to Metallica. You could be into metal and see a Metallica shirt, cool. You walk by, whatever. If you're a hardcore punk guy and you see somebody with a little bit more niche shirt, like an agnostic front or something, it's almost like a secret society. Oh, yeah. You could almost trace where you seen the band, who was there, what venue, because it's a little bit more accessible.
Intimate. It's an intimate group,
It hits you different, right?
Yeah, and it's just more like, it seems more personal. Even if you never meet them, you don't gotta be from New York, from LA. It's just if that music touches the punk, hardcore, that thing, it touches you, you feel like it's almost like I know something personal about you. Right. It's like, it's a little bit more than just, hey, what's up, what's up? It's like, I know a little bit. You show me some of your feelings. So, okay, I know you're a supper. So it gives you a little bit, it's a little bit more passionate.
Man, that's so well put. Yeah, because like I felt like, and we'll get into the reason for the episode, but, I felt like, when, when I discovered Madball, Agnostic Front, some of the other, bands in the hardcore world, it could have been from New York, could have been from California, it doesn't matter, but you guys were living the same lifestyle that I was living, and you were in New York and I was in California. Yeah. There was it an album cover or a video or something like that where you guys are all standing in an alley, baggy jeans with pit bulls?
Yeah, that's the back of the record.
That's a rap video, but it wasn't rap.
That's what basically it was. Again, what we did was we didn't change nothing of who we were. We just said, capture this moment right now. This is who we are. Nothing was ever thought about. Nothing was set up. We had a dog. We wore Carhartt. We wore DMs and triple fat gooses. That's just how we all did graffiti. It was part of the background. The graffiti you saw there, my boy Narc, he's doing it. We put Madball up. There's a can there. There's always paint around. We're city kids, and not just hood kids, but city kids. There always been a mix of suburban, inner. I didn't grow up in the Lower East Side. I grew up in Queens and then in Manhattan, more the outskirts. I didn't grow up in a squat, but we grew up on those streets. We grew up. That's where we came up. Where we bled, we cried, we all in that area. So we all relate to that. You know what I mean? And I tell people it's a state of mind. Right. It's a matter. You got nothing, and I got something, then we got something. Boom. That's the hardcore mentality. In a very nutshell. You could take it however from that, but that's usually how it is. A hardcore dude would take you before anybody. Is more likely to take you in a foreign country. I almost put my life on it. Yeah. You be a hardcore kid in Indonesia, and you say, I'm a hardcore guy, and you relate, he'll take you in. Yep. Yeah. I personally feel that, not because, we're better than anybody. It's just that special intimate about this scene. Not just hardcore, the underground punk and hardcore scene. It's just a connection where you could still trace the DNA to people. It's weird. It's beautiful and crazy at the same time, Yeah, no, that's, I know JC in particular, this is, you're getting flooded with a ton of information because, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know a lot about that genre of music, which even if you were like a hardcore, metalhead or if rock music, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? But it is for certain people.
Yeah.
Right? And for those people, it runs really deep, right? And
Yeah.
that's what makes it like that connection that you're talking about. And that's what makes it special. And it's really what makes that whole kind of like that movement, right? Like romantic.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I'm saying?
No, for sure. It's a definitely you know, especially being young. When you're young, you need to scream. Meaning, you got things you're angry about, things you
Yeah.
want to be heard about.
Right.
You know, if it's, you know, family issues, you know, problems, things you're dealing with, it gives you that. It's probably one of the few genres that really give you an option to go and physically work it out.
Yeah.
Besides training, going to a gym.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
going and yelling. And not just yelling, fuck you, but yelling, you know, I need a change. I need something different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This bothers me. Let's do this. I always tell people, you know, the difference between, you know, I'm not a punk guy, but I know where my roots come from. You know, hardcore stemmed from punk rock origins, but it's a different animal. You know, punk rock is, you know, let's break it down. But hardcore is like, okay, now let's build it up the right way.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. It was a little bit different. Yeah, you need the breaking down part. But all right, now what? Hardcore came in, okay, now we got to build. Now what do we do with this?
Yep.
That's why I always took the hardcore mentality as we know how to build, you know. That's why being, you know, the deal, the zines, the publications, they're all done by kids, you know, telling their parents to run Xerox copies at their jobs to put together magazines because there was no Metal Maniacs or stuff for our world. This is all done by kids 15, 16 years old. Try asking a 15, 16-year-old kid to write a paragraph now.
Right.
Oh God.
Right? You can't even do that. Think about it.
Yeah.
When we were kids, they're writing full publications.
Yep.
You know, kids that are playing football, you know, whatever. They're just hanging out and are still saying, yo, I got to do this. I got to sit down and write 8 pages, put these pictures, lay it out, tell my mom to run the copy, stable to do this. You know, it's passion that it ain't matched.
Right.
Yeah.
Hard to match, at least. You
Yep.
know?
And you're right about the, you know, because, you know, obviously our podcast is about addiction, changing our lives, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like taking a different direction. There's a song, I don't know which album, I didn't really prepare on the album and year side of things, but there's a song that when I got kind of, I don't know, back in the music when I was working out and stuff like that, I jumped back into my old playlist, and there's a song that I completely missed all these years I'm drinking and fucking around with my life. I missed, and then I noticed there's a Madball song called Addict. You know what I mean? And it's about, you know, again, building yourself back up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know the words verbatim, but it's like, you know, hey, you know, pulling yourself out of the gutter, you know what I mean? And, you know, do you still want to live this way, you know? And so you're right. So it's not just angry
Captures the
music.
essence of
Exactly.
hardcore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, we encountered it a lot, you know, even within the band, you know, we've had our, you know, the members in the band and all ourselves, we've had our issues with drugs and wilding out, you know. Some took it further than others, you know, so it was crazy. And we lost a lot of friends, especially back at home, you know. The cocaine leads into stuff. It's always a cocaine stack. You know, yeah, people think it's cool. You do a bump. Now it's fentanyl. And then you're doing coke, and now you're up all night. You want to come off it. Now you take a pill, and now you never wake up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the problem. Now, the problem is, you know, being in the city, being a, you know, nightlife culture. Sure. It's very easy to fall into it, especially if you come a lot, you know, unfortunately, in our world, there's also a lot of people find it because as scapegoats from their regular life.
Yep.
There's things going on. So sometimes it's not enough to fully remove you from stuff that could hurt you later.
Yeah.
So we lost a lot of people to addictions, heroin, you know, cocaine. You know, I personally, you know, I've partied like everybody. It was never my thing like that, but I noticed it was getting to that thing. And that's when I knew how to stop. And I personally put on a couple of my people that ended up having real problems with it. And it really turned me off later because I felt guilty on it. Because I was one of those guys that, you know, I could have the moment in the one weekend.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks you got it under control. You don't got it under control.
Right.
If it was under control, you know, it'd be like drinking water. It wouldn't even be, we wouldn't be talking about it. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people will, you know, you want to escape that day. And then when you've escaped that day, the problems haven't gone away, but you've escaped, at least in your mind, that day, and then you want to escape that week.
Yeah.
Right.
It's, I just don't want to do this week, and then that week turns into where you just don't. You want to mentally check out from life, and it gives you that.
Stay in that
gives you
Yeah,
that.
you never want to go. You know, you keep pushing it, and with that song especially, we were, you know, I don't remember all the lyrics, you know, word for word, but I remember even when that song was getting written, it was a little angry because it was one of our brothers, Two Hip, rest in peace. You know, we were that angry that we lost him. We were angry at him because we were like, we lost you to this bullshit.
Yeah,
you should be here.
Something should be avoided.
You should have fucking been there. And that's why in that song we were like, yo, what the fuck? This is how you want to fucking live? You know, this is how you want to fucking live? Yo, that's better. You got, you know, because it was to the point where, you know, I would see my boy. Me and him were one of the dudes that we could have a banter. You would be laughing for hours, and it got to a point he's standing there disintegrating. He'd go to the bathroom for 2 hours, not come out. You know, and it's like I saw my boy disintegrate, and I was like, you know, we wrote songs hoping they'll listen to this because they would listen. They'll listen to that before us.
What do you think the difference was, like, between you and him? Like, why are you here, but he's not anymore?
You know, part of it, I think. Part of it, I think, the gene. I think we all have a certain genes that may, like some of us have really addictive personalities.
Sure.
I have one, and I think maybe chemically some things stimulate people in a certain way that it just kind of, you know, makes sense to them. Another thing is, I'm lucky to have a mother and father that I grew up with. I grew up in a household full of love, and I know a lot of my people didn't. So I was running away and being angry for, I think, what would be what a normal teenage kid should be angry about, the normal one-on-one things. My family showed me love. My other friends, all my friends that were thrown out of their houses, left out, they came to live in my house. My parents took them in. You know, I can name 20 of my guys that lived in my house. They all called my mother Ma because she raised them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that also helped me I didn't need to escape my reality. I was happy. I had a loving family.
Yeah.
I was just more angry I just have an aggressive nature, you know, like, you know, I like, you know, fighting. I like, you know, I'm a alpha or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just something I always like. But so it wasn't so much that I had anger issues, but it was more on myself. Like, again, maybe I always had a thing, like the macho thing as a kid.
Yeah.
Some kids that don't matter. For me, I remember being 9 years old, posting up with my arms crossed and thinking like, nah, if you're gonna take a picture of me, I can't look soft.
Yeah.
Now I think about it, why am I 9 years old worrying about looking soft?
Yeah. Why do you think that why do you think that is when you're young? I mean, I know you lived in, I've heard you on other podcasts and other interviews talk about like you had a loving house, you know, but why do you think that, you know, because I had the opposite, like, you know, I mean, I was pissed off because I hated everything about being home. Yeah. Like, and if I could have somehow not been home anytime the police or somebody showed up to my house because of what my dumbasses that I lived with at the time, like, were doing, we would hope that they'd take us.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because we'd fantasize about like, well, at least we're going to be somewhere where we're safe. You know what I mean? But I did know some other kids growing up to where like I felt like they were almost angry to be angry. Do you think it was just it's just a condition?
I think every teenager has that, especially males. We're gonna get a little like, you know, we all have that. Fuck you to your parents. Oh, you don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Why? Yeah. You don't know. You don't know. Blah, blah, blah. I think it's definitely that. And I'd like to say that was the most of my problem because, again, my house wasn't perfect, but I came from a loving family. I wouldn't change one thing. I think I do what I do because of my family. You know, I thank them for, you know, I got this man. Nah, my family, I know they're watching me. And my job on this planet is to make my family on this earth and outside this earth rest in peace. And if they're worried about me, they're not resting in peace.
Yeah. So
that's why I got to stay on point now. Then I know my family's there, rest in peace. My people are here, good. And that just keeps me alive because I got to see my sons get old. That's my plan.
No, absolutely. Well, did your parents ever have talks with you about substance abuse at all, or no?
Nah,
or it just was never really a thing that got brought up?
It got brought up, again, Latin family, old school, drinking beer was common. You know, not that they want alcohol, but it was, when we were 15, if there was 40 ounces around, it wasn't like, I was getting thrown out of the house. It's just like, oh, hey, watch yourselves kind of thing. Again, old school Latin family, the males tend to get a little bit more, could get away with a little bit more at an early age kind of thing. My parents did something that I learned from them, where they policed me without me knowing that I was getting policed. So they always said, we wanted you to be your own man, even if we were guiding you.
Yeah.
So, and it helped. That. So they weren't over our head, because the minute they tell us that, what we're gonna do now? Yeah. They would be like, oh yeah, what do you do? Oh yeah, you may want to think about this and that, and kind of leave it on me.
Yeah.
And then maybe watch from the side and make sure I did. And I do that with my son. Yeah. Don't tell them, bring it up, show them the option and what could happen. And almost, and if you're good at it, you could tell them where they feel like they're discovering it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's when you're a good parent. Yeah. You discover that. But I think to me, no real, specific hate for anybody. Just being, I got a thing in me where I got a little bit of a,
Hey, I think some of us are born that way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like, I wonder if I would have been so angry at the world, because I do have this short temper, and I don't know if that really comes from my upbringing, or maybe that really I was born with it.
Definitely I got from my father. I never even thought, but my father was a hothead, sweet guy, that. Definitely old school Latin guy. He was a boxer, a short guy. So he had and he could fight. So he was a short guy, short man complex who could fight. But not a troublemaker, but he's a guy ready for any situation. It's like, all right, you're almost 80 years old. Rest in peace. This guy still wants to fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. He was that type of guy.
I don't think that ever goes away. I'm 45. I'm 45, and there's young dudes now that, like, I would think, like, if I was still drinking, man, I would, like,
there's stories about my father. So great. Driving with my boy, Chris Link from Terra. He worked for us, and we're driving onto the airport once with my pops. And the guy cuts us off, two guys, and me and my father, motherfucker, we pull over. We're about to fuck these guys up. Me and my pops, and he's in the back, and I'm like, yo, you seen some real shit right now. There ain't no more love for father and son than getting together at a traffic stop.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But again, this is where the part I love. Again, like, we had it, but it was not towards us maybe directly, but we picked up these little attitudes maybe.
Yeah. No, I know that's it's crazy. My actual biological dad passed away when I was young, but I had heard stories that he was quite. He was a police officer, but I heard that he was quite the hothead. Yeah. And so I always wonder, like, if he would have been around. I was 8 when he passed away. If that's where I got it from, you know what I mean? It's kind of curious. I'm kind of curious. I've always been kind of curious about that. So you never. So addiction, it's interesting because your story doesn't necessarily stem from addiction, but of substances. But your transformation story is one that a lot of people overlook. And I had the same issue, is that, like, we decided that we were going to go out there, and I had the drinking to stack on top of it. We were going to go out there and get overweight, unhealthy, and potentially die much younger than we
way
should
younger.
Have. And it's like, you mind if we share pictures? Like,
absolutely.
I don't know if you guys can,
if you could fit it on the screen,
before and after up there on the screen.
Hey, you can fit it on the screen.
So we have a couple pictures here. So,
what year is this?
That's maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I basically, during the pandemic is when I started really going in on my health and all that stuff. Everything started leading up.
So Hoya's before picture, right before the pandemic, and then there's the current picture.
Yeah, it's more. That was my life. That was before weight training. So I started lifting weights because when I lost a lot of weight, I felt like I had a bird chest. So I said, we're gonna have to. I was skinny fat.
Okay.
You know,
I'm going through that right now.
Yeah.
I have this midsection that's all pretty.
But I got something to lose. But that was probably the thinnest I got. I got down to 200 pounds.
Got that.
And right now I'm at 245.
You feel comfortable at like 245? I mean,
I feel good now, but I say I started adding, and I've been not on my diet fully, but I've definitely stacked on more size. I think I'll be comfortable around 230. I think I will feel good. Like I'll still be, I ain't trying to get abs, just to feel solid, and I feel good now. Like wind wise, I was never like a runner or nothing, but my gas tank is great.
It's
there. So I'm like,
I feel,
so I feel good. And I know when I was a little bit lighter, even better.
Sure.
So now, but I definitely stacked on more size. I wanted to get a little bit more, stack on a little bit more muscle.
Yeah.
And then try to trim, do the routine, stack on size, trim down.
So like if we could just like kind of dive in, try to extract some value, like for somebody that's maybe struggling with the same thing,
Sure.
like what's going on with you in your mind, right? As you're getting bigger, right? Because like, you got up to
almost close to 400, at least 375.
So that's a process, right?
Yeah.
Like what's going on in your mind as you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger?
You know what it is? I was always kind of, big bone chubby. So, but I was like, my team. So I was always like, whatever, but solid. And I was always, I never was like on a dumpier side. I was always, so I always got it like, the big guy. And it was still never always as a diss. It was still I would still get kind of patted on the back. Not that I, said, I want to be a big guy my whole life, but I always felt like, okay, I'm the strong guy. There's a thin guy, strong guy, fast guy. As the years got, I was always big. I got chubbier. I think when I was about 15, again, hanging out. Now you're drinking 40s. I'm starting to drink beer. Nobody's watching their diet at that age. Not us, at least.
Yeah.
And then, and you're not paying attention.
Right.
The next thing you know, I start with the music and just the lifestyle. You're eating different times. You're not really working out. You're not paying attention. And at that time, we were indulging in a lot. We were drinking a lot. There was smoking. There was everything going on top of that. So that just added to it. You don't know till the next thing you know, you're fucking 300 pounds.
Yeah. It just sneaks up on you.
It sneaks up on you. And the thing with me was, I was glad, for me, I always was I had a confidence in myself. I was never cocky, but I always was confident because, again, I was a guy that I was always like, I never wanted to be shitted on by people. Mm-hmm. So I always made sure I was like, I held myself in, kind of like a good standard with stuff.
So you'd have been 400 pounds, 500 pounds. It didn't matter because you were like,
I was confident in my talk because I felt confident. I was like, yeah, I know I'm trouble, whatever. But I know I'm a cool dude. I know I'm a good dude. I know I got your back. I didn't think of it. And I was lucky enough that I met plenty of beautiful women that accepted me for my round body. No, but meaning, all jokes aside.
But you're like accomplishing things at a high level in your music and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of like it takes away from what's happening, right?
Yes.
And then all the people around you, because of you being successful and who you were, they're not really.
They're kind of yes-menning.
Yeah,
they're not saying that. And we all know, even with your friends, it's kind of a touchy subject. Yo, you're gaining weight.
Yeah.
If it's they're hitting the wrong way, it's kind of like you don't want to do that. It is a weird subject.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure. I knew I was getting heavier, obviously, and I know in my family I had diabetes. Mm-hmm. So I know I was, I know every time I ate a chocolate bar, you're playing yourself. Yeah. And I know when I was getting heavier, I remember there was times, even my mom, when she was alive, rest in peace, there'd be times she'd be like, you gained weight. And my mom was, wouldn't,
Sure.
And I was like, wow, Mom Dukes is saying that. And then I'd feel, and then long story short, I start, you see pictures, but again, it was never about the vanity part because the girls, I had friends.
Yeah.
I was in the band, everything was cool and whatever. But I knew my health, it was going to be an issue sooner or later.
Yeah.
And not till my mother, literally when the pandemic started, my mother was fighting cancer for many years, but it started really kicking in around So the pandemic happened. Now my career as a musician is officially over as far as the world we knew it at the time. No music, no nothing. It's all we've done for 30 years. We know nothing else. So now they're saying that. On top of that, my mother's dying of cancer. I'm a single father. And now I had to really look at myself in the mirror, because my son, my wife passed away, rest in peace, when my son was 1.5. And my mother was raising my son. I know after that, my son got no more mother. And like I was saying before, I made it a point. I said, I'm not going to leave my sons orphans on my accord. When God takes you, he takes you. Whatever. Anything I could do on this earth that I got control of, I'm taking full control of it. And the control is to move further in life to see my sons prosper. That's all I care about. I don't care about nothing else. That's what I get off on. That's what makes me do everything I do. That's what keeps me happy, motivated, knowing that my son is one more day closer to succeeding.
Yep.
That's it. That's my when my wife passed, I'm gonna never forget, she told me, like, you sure you're gonna be able to handle it? Because I'm a musician. I said, you kidding? It wasn't even never thought in my mind. It's like, I promise you. He's gonna succeed.
Yeah.
So when my mom got sick, I had to look at myself in and anxiety kicking in. Anxiety starts kicking in. I start
Shit's
saying,
getting real.
Shit starts really coming down to it. I just literally lost my job. My mother's becomes bedridden almost days later. I could almost thank the pandemic. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't be there to take care of my mother those last days.
Yeah.
And I was there to take care of her the last days. And if it wasn't for the shock of having to do all that, I wouldn't have looked at myself and what I had to do.
Yeah.
I had to get thrown in that,
Yeah.
to do it. And it was one of the worst things I had to do. Watch my mother deteriorate, knowing where she was going. But there's nowhere I'd rather had been, and nowhere I'd rather be even right now.
Yeah.
I say, you kidding me? With my mom's to the end, and because of her, I'm alive. Even her in death,
Yep.
I'm living longer.
Yep.
It's crazy how sometimes, like, we have to have things just taken away from us for us to, like, really be able to look inside and be like, well, wait a minute, right? Like,
Yeah.
Maybe the lens that I was seeing life through wasn't necessarily the best, 20/20 vision. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And it's like, you take all the yes men out of here, take the successful bands out of here, take the women out of here, and God forbid, take your mom, right?
Yeah.
And then your wife, and then it's like, what are you left with?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
No.
You know
exactly.
what I'm saying? And it's like, it's interesting to me because some people aren't able to make that decision that you made. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
Some people
The pandemic was bad for
perish
most people.
along with
yeah.
everything else that's perishing around them.
Yeah.
But for some reason, you've been able to kind of like stand up and take a look at yourself and make the decision to be like, hey, fuck this.
That's what I tell people. I go, a lot of people tell me, because I had a hard 3 years. I lost my mother, I lost my brother, I lost my father in the last 3 years. And it's rough. But I was also blessed to have something to get me over that, and that's with my sons. There's people that got to go through that got no support system.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I had my sons telling me, Pop, you got this. I don't got no better gas in my tank than that.
Amazing how you bring a child or children into this world, and it just takes them and the right approach from them to motivate you in a whole different direction.
Yeah,
It's almost like instinctual, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's also, I think everybody could do it. I think you just face at that moment where you go left or you go right. You choose.
Yes.
So, sometimes I don't always go on that. Sometimes I do, depending on the day, like people build like that or not. I think, no, you just got to have, just jump.
Yep.
Your first time bungee jumping, I guarantee you ain't going to just run off and jump. You can't wait, but you go. I think you got to pull the trigger. And I think I learned this. I lost my whole family. A single father. I lost everything. I learned how strong the brain and the human mind is if you let it work, if you pay attention to it.
Yep.
Because people could tell me everything about how hard. Yeah, hard. I also lucky. I got my sons that are thriving. I got my support rock. When I need something, my sons come smiling at me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Because you know why? My mother, my father, my brother,
Yep.
say, you better take care of your kids. When they're happy, they can rest in peace.
Nope.
If they can rest in peace, then I can rest in peace.
Right.
That's a very good point, a very good way of looking at it. You know, it's crazy, man, that you know, you didn't struggle with substance abuse has never been your thing, but I think a lot of people, and us three here, we can all relate to that. JC never, like, you know, at least physically. I know that your story's very, very close episode coming up, man, if we just stop getting these incredible guests coming into town. But the thing is that we can all relate that, you know, when you struggle with something, whether that's your weight or substances or something like that, there's so many people that they don't understand that, maybe it's a meeting, maybe it's an event, maybe it's a death in the family, God forbid, but it really only takes just one decision and one like, and it's so crazy because this is going to be a diluted, like, this is going to sound diluted no matter how, like, I'm trying to drive a point home here. It takes that one, as cliche as it sounds, that one, like, hey, I'm fucking done with being done. Like, I'm fucking, what is the saying? Like, I'm fed up with being fed up. I got to turn a corner. For you, it was your kids. For me, it was, you know, it had a little bit to do with my son. He was already grown when I got sober and started getting in shape, but it was that I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror anymore. Yeah. I didn't want to wake up with headaches anymore every day. I didn't want to be the guy that, you know, as everyone said, or Jimmy had said, called everything in because I was, you know, financially I was okay. So it's like I never got a DUI because I could just Uber to 9 bars in a night or something like that. You know what I mean? But when I turned that corner, and I like talking to you about your story because it was the pandemic that it took me the pandemic. I have a picture just real quick, and you know what I mean?
Sure.
This picture just blows my mind.
Amazing,
this was the night. This was 2018.
This is so crazy.
This is 2018, you know, Vinny Stigma, which is one of, you know, different person. He is the godfather of New York hardcore, you know, in my opinion, agnostic.
And we'll be on stage tomorrow night still, by the way.
Pushing 70, like you said, a statue, he ain't going nowhere, but this was the night I met him. And like, I have never, believe it or not, this podcast will be the first time this will ever be posted on social media because I didn't even like looking at pictures like this of myself. Like, I took that picture with the idea, like, I'm meeting Vinny Stigma, this and that, but I thought it was very relevant to this because, you know, this was, I in my phone, this is 2018. 2019, I got sober right around the times when I started working out and stuff like that. And so our stories are very similar. We used the pandemic to our advantage. We're like,
it was simultaneously almost the same. Him, when he was going through the same thing, we were almost started the training, and we were having our problems that were leading us to the next step almost around the same time. You know, that's what he was talking about. I go, the same thing's happened to me. This is what I did. How you lost? I started doing this. I started doing the same page. Oh, I'm a single father watching my family. Oh, I'm helping my family out. You know, and it was like almost on the same type of page. And again, you know, out of something that was like the end of the world. Sure. You know, there was positive things that happened. By far. Yeah. You know,
I remember my ex said that 2020, like towards the middle of 2020, I'm like living my best life. As she said, I've lost all this weight. I'm sober, like financially, I'm doing good. And she's like, the whole world is fucking falling apart, Joe. And you're over here living your best life. And I'm just like, cause I was working out. I'm doing shit. I'm getting after. I'm using it to my advantage. You know, I was at the strip every day. I have those crazy videos of the strip being empty. And I'm down there, you know, running stairs, and like, you know what I mean, just working out, getting it together.
Thing. I started, you know, again, there was points, you know, I never fell into full addiction, but there was points though where I had to choose pick my poisons, and I don't call what I do now poison because weed is medicine.
Yeah, we're very cannabis-friendly, California sober.
Yeah, but when it was back then, you know, it was drinking. You know, oh, you got some type of pill? I'll take it. Oh, you got a bump? Let's go.
Yeah.
Sleeping 3 hours. You know, it was like whatever. It got to a point, you know, there was time I was pulling out my people out of after hours. They were there for 4 days in a row, and you know, I got called them because
they're after days.
They got guns on them, and they're like, "You're the only guy who could get them." Yeah. Like, this is the type of stuff that it was getting to, you know what I mean? And there was times that, you know, again, when we were around it, when we were partying with it, we were also selling it. We didn't have money. We were poor kids.
No.
So what we would do sometimes on the road, if we could try to make some money, but then what happens is you have this around, you're doing it. The next thing you know, you're doing blow every night, and
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy. I want to stick on this kind of like topic, right? Because I think it's really magical. It's almost like it's just magical, right? And it happens, I think, in everyone's life is when you get to that point where it's like, okay, I got to make that choice, and you made that choice, right? And so, like, for the people listening, right, that like maybe they're that's looking at them in the face, right? And it's time for them to make that choice. So you made your choice, right? So then what do you do? Like, what do you start doing to kind of reverse what you've created?
Yeah, like one thing I could tell people first is, because I hear this, and this is something I had a encounter first, and this is a thing I hear with people trying to do that journey is I say do it for this person. I don't got nobody. Do it for yourself. I don't care. Then I tell people, then do it to make people feel stupid. For everybody you hate, that's who you do it for. If you got nobody you love, you say you claim you got nobody that loves you, then do it for the people you hate.
Do the people that think you'll never do it.
Never do it, and show them what you could do.
Shit, that's been literally
that's what
my
they
whole
want.
life.
That's what I mean. It ain't always the sugar way of going about it, but it's definitely the straight. I had to do it. It's just what it is. You have a choice. It's like, all right, I got to do something better. Now you don't do it. There's a problem. People are like, yeah, okay, I got to do something different, and they leave it there. No. You have to make a plan, and then you got to go for it. When I said I got to straighten out, I said, okay, yo, I can't do this. I got to do. What am I doing? What I got available? Okay, I got my little yard, and let me start jogging in place. Okay, what I'm gonna do is every morning when I wake, I gotta make sure I'm gonna do 20 minutes of jogging in place. After I change my moms and do all this and that, whatever. I'm gonna do 15 minutes of the heavy bag. I started giving myself little assignments and saying, stick to them. People that say they can't do it is bullshit. The same way we just talked about it. You could make it to the corner store to get your drink. You can make it to your job. You can make it to the toilet when you got a shit. Everything's an excuse. I learned that because I was the king of excuses. Nobody got better excuses than me. Nobody. This is why I could tell you whatever your excuse is full of shit. The only excuse you got to not do nothing is that if you're not alive on this planet.
Yeah.
Because my mother told me this, and at the moment I thought it was some corny shit, and not till later on it kicked in. She goes, the greatest thing, because I was on one of these tips when she came to Europe when my wife was sick and she was passing, and I was very angry. She told me the greatest thing God gave us was tomorrow. And I said, listen, I don't want to hear that right now. And you know what the fact is? You wake up the next day, you have that one day where maybe you have one little smile or hear one little positive thing. If it wasn't for that day, that's the spark that shows you know what? Maybe I could get 2 of those smiles out. And then the next day you might get 3, and maybe you have an hour. And then that hour turns into you learn how to put these things in its place.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to need sometimes, you know? I didn't want to hear it, and I said, hey, if you wake up, you got no excuse. Your excuse is, I'm not alive no more.
Yep.
It's just you haven't found it in you. It's easier said than done. It's just pull the trigger. I tell people right away, they tell me whatever. Oh, I'm going to start. Okay, let's go right now. Take a walk. 20 minutes right now. Yeah. Oh, no, tomorrow. You don't got 20 minutes right now?
Yep.
Right now, you do it. You got it under the belt. It's that first one. We all know it. Yeah. Once you rip the first one, the rest is just stay on it. The hardest part is the first one. People are embarrassed. I know what it is. You want going into a gym, being a big guy. I know what it feels like. Well, guess why you go to the gym? You think all those guys, anybody who really trains is in shape, they knows what it takes to get into shape. So if anything, they should be rooting for you. And if they're talking shit on you, they're just pieces of shit anyway. So you shouldn't waste your energy on them.
Yeah. I've always thought that it's crazy. I'm glad you say that. I always thought it's crazy that people will, on social media these days, you'll get these trolls, as we call them, that like they like to record bigger females or bigger males in the gym, and then it's like I'll fire off on them in a message. Yeah, I'll be like, "What the fuck you think the gym's there for?" Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Sure. It's like, sorry. Well, I'm glad that you've never struggled with this. Yeah, like me going in there, it's like there's a guy, and I don't know. I wish I would have stayed in contact with him when I first moved back to California and joined the gym, and I'm running one day. and I saw this guy kind of looking at me
Yeah.
side-eyed, you know what I mean? And then he's kind of looking at me. He's a bigger guy. He's probably 275, 300 pounds. So we go into, I'm washing my face afterwards, and he was just like, man, you guys that are runners, man, I don't know how you do it. And I said, hold up. Got in my phone.
Yeah.
I said, this a few years ago. He's like, you know,
Yeah.
is that you? And I was like, yeah, it just takes, you know what I mean? This is hard.
Even the millionaires got to make the first dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta make your first dollar.
And you know what I learned with this? I go, this is the thing is, I heard these, and these I carried with me. Number one, it's a journey. You didn't get this big overnight, so don't expect to lose.
Exactly.
Number one.
I say
number
that all the
two,
time.
you gotta learn for the slow burn satisfaction.
Yep.
If you want that quick fix, you're in the wrong biz.
Yep.
I don't care who it is, even if you're roided to the gills, these guys that are chiseled, that's hours and years of dedication and studying, training.
Yeah.
Take all the roids you want, you're just gonna look like a balloon.
Yeah.
You still gotta put the hours in. I know what it is, the training, the paying attention. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot to it. You know, there's a lot to it.
Absolutely.
And I tell people like, what I say, look it, get in the gym. Oh, I'm like, get in. The one day, that first day is the hardest. I know what it is. I've walked into jiu-jitsu gyms by myself. And I'm like, all eyes on you, the new guy. On top of that, I was a bigger guy on top. But guess what? I'm here for the reason of I'm trying to do something about this.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, most people know that. In our heads, we make it a bigger thing than it is. They're looking at us. They're looking at us. Everybody's looking at everybody, kind of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure, sometimes people looking crooked, but sometimes us, because we have a complex on our size already, we tend to think people are looking at us all the time for a wrong reason or whatever. You know what I learned at the end of the day? Look, if consistency. I don't care if you go in the gym and you walk out 5 minutes later. That's 5 minutes. You had to get up and walk to your car, walk to the gym, get in there and turn around. That's more exercise than you would have done if you wouldn't have gotten up. So
100%.
you won.
100%.
You won.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Period. So again, I know this because I'm the king of excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do it. I got a single kid. Oh, I'm in a band. Oh, I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. It's all bullshit, full of shit. I just don't want it bad enough.
Oh yeah.
When you want it, you make time.
Yeah, you make time for what's important.
I learned why I'm up at 5 a.m, 6 days a week. Why? Not my ideal, but that's the time I know I get done what I need to get done for my mission in life to succeed.
Yep.
And I get the hardest part of my day out of the way. Nobody bothers me. I could really concentrate on myself, on even stress, and get in and out, doing what I got to do. And mentally, physically, there's nothing better. Beating an addiction, if it's eating drugs or whatever, there's nothing better than exhausting your body to where it forces just your brain to work.
Yeah.
As when it does that, it eliminates the bullshit and kind of brings everything more. When you're panting for air, you're not worried about if you got milk.
Right.
You happy you got a house. I just want to get a drink. I'm good if I'm going to get home and lay on my couch, right? You're not thinking, oh, I got to do that. It kind of, and then sure, when you wear off, it opens up, but then you kind of realize a lot of our shit, a lot of our daily stresses are bullshit, and that gives into addictions. I seen why a lot of my boys were addicted for, and not that it wasn't real problems, but they're everyday problems. You know what it is? It's just you chose to fight it in a way that's hurting you now.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's everybody's problems. People tell me, oh, man, Hoya, it's so rough, it's so rough, so rough. Yeah, very rough. You may be losing one family member in your brain is probably the same amount as to me losing my 3 members. In your world, it's the same amount of hurt and pain.
Sure.
So who am I to say, no, mine means more to me. It's more painful than yours. No, it's everybody's. But we all go through it. I had to listen to other people's stories. That's why things like these podcasts are good. If it wasn't for me hearing other people's stories, I wouldn't think it could be done. If it wasn't for people online showing pictures, on my mother's grave, I would watch guys on. There was this one guy online, this black guy. I forgot his name. he broke it down the best because he's a street kid, but kind of broke it down in a way where I took it in quick. It was real heavy set. Said, hey, get in there doing push-ups, broke it down with the calories and all that, but very simple. Hey, keep your calories low, try to work out, eat clean. The guy's ripped. He broke it down very simple form, gave you little hacks. You know, try this. You know, if you want a sweet tooth hack, okay, you can indulge with, this ice cream once in a while. And he gave me, okay.
It's possible.
It's possible. And in this day and age, boys and girls, there's no way you could say you cannot eat healthy and it does not taste good. If this was 20 years ago, I would say you're right. Because, being vegetarian and that was really rough years ago. Like, if you were, now, you eat good.
Oh,
you can eat clean, good, you can
100%.
have you can have meals made for you. It's so...
Yeah,
back in the days of health, guys had to eat dozens of eggs, do all this wild stuff. It's all out there. You just got to implement it in your life. I would implement, on my way to school, I'm going to go to the store and get a bag of chips. Okay, now you implement instead of that. I'm going to walk, do that, come back and eat, drink a protein shake, and then go to here.
Yep.
Once you make it part of your routine, it's part of your routine.
Yep.
I learned that, but you got to make the routine. That's the hardest part, but it's hard and it's not. It's just a matter of doing it.
100%.
It's the doing it. It's not hard.
I love what you're saying. This is somebody the other day said, so you're gonna have Hoya on the podcast. Like, what was he struggling with? And I go, well, he wasn't struggling with an actual substance. And then they go, why you have him on there? And then I said, I showed him the before and after picture of you. I go, you don't understand the addiction part of how your brain works to get that big by an accident.
Yeah.
I struggled just as much with food as I did with booze. Yeah. Food even longer. And so I knew, and I'm just loving everything you're saying, I knew that it was a direct tie-in to how you treat addiction with food, the same way with food. It's like saying that, I drink kava, kratom. Cannabis is very much part of what we're doing because I personally, and we already have a bunch of haters. They're saying you guys aren't even a fucking sober podcast talk about cannabis. It's like it's plant-based alternatives. And the thing is that there's it's like you said, 20 years ago it was difficult for you to eat healthy. It was more difficult for you to eat healthy. Well, I feel the same way for replacing substances. Yes, there is a chemical in the brain. Your serotonin levels are fucked up and everything with a little bit different with substances, obviously.
Definitely.
Food. But, because you're not, but there's a lot of similarities, like kicking sugar and kicking. I've never had to kick opiates like you have, but
the chemical reactions our bodies.
There is a difference, but the thing is that you have to find what works for you. And for you said that there's a guy online that broke it down, eat this many calories. That to this day, I still, in my mind, I don't eat. Now it's up to a little bit because I'm more active. I don't eat no matter what, 2,500, 3,000 calories. And now I have such a routine on what I eat to where I know almost in my mind, by the end of the day, okay, cool, I havenent gone over 2,500 calories because I know what these. I don't have to count them anymore. I know that. Same thing with drugs and alcohol. Okay, cool. I just drank some kava before we came in here. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is that I have ADHD. My shit's all, I'm fucked up. We have very similar ADHD, which is crazy for us. So the thing is that I know that before, to handle that, it was I had to drink. Yeah. To drink to do anything. It was my thing. But now I know, okay, cool. A healthier alternative that lasts for about an hour. It's not destroying my liver, my life, or anything else. I'll drink a little kava. No big deal. Some people pop pills for that, but then the society seems to think that that's okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'm glad that you're hitting these points because you it takes just as much, sometimes maybe even more, to go from almost 400 pounds to 200 pounds.
You know what part of it is too is that sometimes it's the situation. My situation was a little different. That in the lifestyle I was living, not so much that I was feeling it, but I was indulging, and it's in that lifestyle. Yeah, drinking and partying and eating that, and this girl, and that. So there's nothing wrong. It's you're indulging the moment. You don't even know it when you need somebody to be like, yo, maybe you should chill out. Again, maybe if I had the person telling me early on, yeah, sure that I always had friends who are like, yo, we should start working out a little bit. But it was never as much. And I know a lot of it was out of love, because we're boys and it's just a weird convo sometimes.
Sure.
If you're not training partners. Yeah. And we're training partners, it's common to be like, yo, we got to work on this. But if not, sometimes it's weird. And again, for me, if anything, I used to get props from other people because they used to be like, yo, this guy's a big guy, cool dude, the big guy girl. So to me, it wasn't an aesthetic thing. Even though I knew the health thing, my health wasn't falling yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I had a heart attack that made me tip.
You were just getting lucky like I was.
Yes.
Nothing really, the doctors hadn't really said,
by far.
Die and...
Long story, I came off a tour. I had a little pimple on my head that I popped probably with dirty hands on tour. Basically got infected. I remember coming back, and I'm one of my heaviest. And I remember being in Europe about to fly, and my tour manager goes, yo, you all right, man? I go, yeah, I feel good. And he goes, yo, you look sick. I was literally gray. I looked like gray. So I got off the plane, and I'm one of those guys, I hate doctors. I literally told my baby mama at the time I was with, I was like, take me to emergency. I go, I got this thing. So I had, what do you call it? Staph or whatever. So this was me not going to the doctor for 30 years before that. They go, yo, but he checked me, he goes, who? You're diabetic, right? I didn't know, but I had a feeling. I was like, he said, your blood's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
I was like, fuck, all right, I knew it.
Damn.
Now I heard it right away. Here, metformin, give me all these pills. And I'm like, he does this shit. I said, fuck, okay, now it's that. So I took the pills for a month, and then I'm like, fuck that. A lot of my boys are into health, and they're like, yo, you could beat it without it. So I said, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it without it. I ate a little clean for a month and then went phased back into not as far eating crazy, but thinking, oh, I'm eating better, when in reality it wasn't enough.
You might have cut out a cake.
Again,
a cake
exactly. Thinking, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm not going to eat pizza for, only on the weekend and still eat shit though. And then, but then I started, then I would notice other things. Then when my mom started getting sick, I could even just tell, knee pains, getting up, stamina, certain other little things were acting up. And I was like, man, I got to be on point. So I got to be on point. I got to start moving. I can't do this. If I got to take care of her, and the one, what do you call it, metaphor, I think everybody, especially who's thinking about trying to figure out the best way, pulling the trigger, like I keep saying, on just setting off your journey. They say it the best on the airplane. If the plane's going to crash and the masks come down, what they say the first thing to do before you help your child or anybody?
Help yourself, yeah.
Then you can't help nobody else.
Yep.
So I got goose pimples right there because that echoes in my body.
You can't.
Because for me, my main thing is to help my children. And to help my children, I got to help myself first.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for somebody else you love. If you don't got nobody you love, do it for the people that hate you and want to see you lose. There's always a reason.
Oh, yeah.
That's always a reason.
Yeah.
Now, if you choose to take the reason, that's on you making excuses. That's what I mean. Everything's an excuse.
Yeah.
It's either, I'll do it, or I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
That's on you. If you don't want to do it, but you know what's going. But I'm thinking, now you got it in you. Now, sure, sometimes it takes longer for the foam, the cream to rise or something, but it should.
Yeah.
I think every human got that. I don't care. You corner a rat, he's going to jump at you it's just instinct. I think some people just got to get pushed really far. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't think I got some super gene or nothing. I think I definitely was lucky with my children that gave me something to hold on to. But I think everybody could find something to do it for, even if it's hate.
Yeah, 100%.
You could turn that hate into something.
It's a great one.
We have a line. Yeah, I have a line in one of the songs. We have a line. It was about hardcore music. Basically, we turned our hate into something that we loved. And that's what you got to do if that's what you need to do. If that's what you need to do.
Yep.
And that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to mission accomplished. That's my point. Otherwise, it's an excuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes you know, at least in my own experience, like, you know, I reached a point where money wasn't motivating me anymore. I'd reached a point where my son was an adult paying his own bills, never asking me for money. I'd reached a point where I was, you know, driving the car that I wanted to drive, for the most part, living kind of where I wanted to live, to where it really does boil down to, at that point, people that are like talking shit, that are the ones that are motivating me these days. Like, you know, and so it's, I don't think that. I think that that's not talked about enough, man. Like, you know what I mean? That's just like, you got to do it for the people that are watching, you know what I mean? Because sometimes those guys they're the ones that are, if you relate this to social media, they're the ones that are looking at your stories. But not liking your post. It's funny, like I prove a point all the time to myself. I'll post something that has to do with like an accomplishment that the company did, or the accomplishment that I did, or I don't know, my wife or something. And I'll get 8 likes on social media. I'll post some dumb shit about vandalism, graffiti, or some shit like that, and I'll get 75 to 100 likes, because people are quick to like some shit that like is like not the most positive post, you know what I mean? But when you start adding positivity, it's like, so you almost want to do it for that. Like, okay, cool, I know you're watching, you're not liking. If anything, you're probably hating. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do it despite you. And like, I've kind of done that my whole life. It's like I've built everything.
You know what it is? You know how it is in the fitness and in this type of community. Everybody tries to take the whole. They think positive means you have to say, "Hey, flowers up and yay." No, sometimes you got to look at the dirt for something to grow, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we got to go the other way to get something out of it. We don't always got to, can it do it? All right, you good? Yeah, you got enough people that love you? You comfortable? I know there's somebody you hate. You know there's people out there that want to see, you want them to be happy that you're losing? You know you could win, but you want them to win? That's on you then.
Right.
I mean, I'm the type of dude like, nah, I can't have nobody good. This times I've been robbed where I'm still like, fuck you on the way while they're leaving, because I'm like, I gotta get my last lick in.
Oh yeah.
You know, fuck that. Like I'm a control freak. I'm a control freak, and taking control of your life is the most godlike thing you could do. And you would see the power you feel when you do that, because nobody could control your shit. You let people control the same way. I don't do this to this guy for that. You letting people run your shit.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what your own machine could do.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Tyson said the best thing, a quote that echoes in my head. He said, "Our brains are programmed to kill us. That's why we have to check it. More weed, more girls, more coke, more food." No, you want to go to the gym? No, don't go to the gym. Rest. No, if we don't check that, we don't. But that's always there. But that's where you really, once you focus and you know, okay, that motherfucker's in there, I got to keep him in check. You keep him in check. If you try to act like he ain't there and you listen to him, oh no, that's just my fault. Oh, that's a, no. You got an option on listening or not. The same way when your mother told you to do something, you did it or not. You have an option when you tell yourself to do something or not.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it sucks, because it's like I got in last night, and you know what I mean, I ran into you at the airport. I got in, and the whole plan was to get in, and I was going to head out, just kind of walk around, see what kind of punk rock shows are going on and stuff like that. I got in, and I jumped on Postmates to order some food because I'm moving some things out of the house. And for some dumbass reason, I went straight to, because I don't know why, I was like, I haven't had a Big Mac in a while. And I went straight there, and I just said, fuck. So I just scrolled past McDonald's, ordered a crepe. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I'm going to regret this.
Yes. Can I just say one thing? If you're going to regret something once in a while, Big Mac is a
I know. Yeah, right.
That's my weak
Big Mac, I know.
If you're going to regret that, if I am. And look, I almost broke the other day. And I was like, that's a cheat if I do. But I know it's a big cheat. But if I'm going to cheat, Big Mac is mine. And the other day, it was on mine. Do I go, no, all right, wait till Vegas. I'm going to eat dirty out there. But I almost got one because that's my week.
Yeah, man. Because I haven't had one in a long time.
I did it. I think Gators about winners. I think when I hit 2:15 or something. I was waiting. I think I said, when I'm eating my Big Mac, like as my celebration, my son was like, I'm buying it for you.
Nice.
He was like, I want you to eat it. Like, because he was like, you boring now the way you eat Pops. My sons are like, we like you better when you were fatter. I love it. Now, they love it. They all eat good now. They all like try to train. And that's another thing.
That's awesome.
You'd be surprised, also people that have a lot of these problems, sometimes it's like self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. You put some work into yourself, you'd be surprised how people treat you. And you'd be surprised how people look at you.
Because you carry yourself
like
different.
you'll get the results that you're looking for. But you got to give people the reason to give you that.
Oh, yeah.
People forget. They expect. Not all of us have it off the grip. Not all of us are pretty up front. Me, I was a big guy. So what I had to do, I had to use my talk and whatever. But you work with what you got. We all got something to work with.
Yep.
Again, you gotta be assertive. You gotta say, this is what you almost gotta look at yourself and be real.
Yes.
This is what I got. I would like to fix this. This is my plus. I could work this. This ain't so good. I want to work on this. I don't care about that. As long as you're real with yourself, it's your life to live. But after, first assess yourself and be real with it. You'll know.
Yeah.
And then if you got something you want to work on, guess what? Like we said again, you wake up, you have a chance to do that.
Yep.
You have the minute you close your eyes, you wake up, you have another chance, even if it's to fail, to win, to try. You have another chance of furthering. Bottom line. So, wake up, try.
Yep.
If your eyes don't wake up, that's the only excuse you should have.
Yep.
And even if it meant let me take a walk around my block, or you know what? I drink a beer after work every day. You know what? Maybe today, no. Maybe I'm gonna drink one after every other day.
Yep.
Give yourself little task, and that's fine. You got to give yourself, almost make it a game. I made it a part of a schedule because I know I work on a schedule, so I know I could see it in my mind. It had its place. It wasn't overlapping because I have ADD too sometimes. Yeah. If I see things scattered, if they're in their place, I know I'm gonna tackle them. Do whatever it is that you got to do. So the objective is right in front of your face, where you cannot, go around it and ignore it.
Yeah, it's tough with guys like us that have ADHD, because if that shit isn't if you don't have if I showed you the reminders on my phone,
listen, crazy. Like I told you earlier, and some of you said right now, it's another little tip. This is a big tip that helped me big time. And I used to hear people talk this in their weight journeys, and I used to be like, oh, this is all corny shit, and it's all worked. I told you I had on my wall wash, marker board where you could write, and I had my son's names on them, and I wrote live.
Yep.
That's all I wrote. Every morning I woke up. You need that visual, because shirts in your head, we're humans. And some of us are meatheads like myself, we're gorillas. Sometimes we need something right in front of us to know it's there.
For sure.
The minute I opened my eyes, I knew my reasons for doing everything I needed to do with a millisecond, by just seeing that. Write what you need, or write with the mission, or write the person's name you hate, write the person's name you love, write the person you want, write the person, whatever it is, write it down. You see that thing every day, it'll remind you, because you know what? That'll also tell you when you're being a little bitch.
Yep.
Because you see it, do this, do that, and you'll be like, no, I'm not going to do it, because you're right. You'll look back. Why I didn't want to go? Because I was sleepy. Yeah. Oh, guess what? I could have came home and slept. Exactly. I don't got a 9 to 5.
Yep.
And if you have a 9 to 5, wake up an hour earlier. Or how about this? Don't watch Jeopardy at night.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yep.
There's ways. It's just you don't want to do it. Oh, what about my downtime? You don't got no downtime if you're not alive.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. And that really plays into substance abuse.
Yeah.
You should be doing it for yourself, but there is somebody out there that you're either going to, by getting sober, you're going to show them that it could be done.
Yeah.
Or people that love you that either think that you'll never pull out of it, or they're waiting for you to do it so you can lead by example.
Absolutely. And do it. I tell people, I had to dig in and specifically look for people that had these tough stories. Because then you realize, because I know how it is, you know, in our heads, we make that our problems become the biggest problems in the world, because for us, they are at the moment.
Yeah.
And when you look, how some of the, Bernie Mac, the comedian, he had like, I forgot what, 15 brothers and sisters. They all died. I try to imagine going to 15, 12 funerals, all your brothers and sisters. Yeah. Imagine that, because it's some rare disease. I lost 3 family members. You know how I got to look at it? I was blessed. I'm almost 50. Blessed to have my mother till I'm almost 50. Blessed to have my father till my late 40s.
Yep.
You know what that is? You know, we hear stories. You know, some of us didn't have our father early and late. I was blessed to be not only a young man, but a grown man and have that. So I know I lucked out. You know what I mean? Like, I got lucky. I had people giving me a reason why I needed to live, because I know people loved me, and I know people don't have that always.
Yeah.
That's why I say I get it's rough, is where you gotta feed
reason.
from, but you gotta find your reason. There is a reason, again, even if it's hate, to make people feel stupid, to or to prove yourself wrong.
Yep.
Because for yourself, bottom line.
No.
And I think we all want better for ourselves. Like, who doesn't?
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, why wouldn't we? Like, like, who doesn't, even if it's whatever, to pop a smile, if something gives you a smile, that's what you work for.
No,
that's what you work for, because ain't nothing more. But it's something that even make a little grin, something fun. Just that little smile. You know what that is? Yeah. A little smile means that's like,
it's a spark.
Forget it. That means something tells you that your day is, no matter what happened, you were able to pull that out. That's big.
No.
People don't look at that. I know it, because I remember, again, being in situations, I'm counting days, people, they're going to leave this earth. And then we can have a moment where we can have a laugh for a second. Cherish that. You got that moment. Live that moment. Let that shit feed it. You got to let that little spark feed. That shit, feed it.
Yeah.
You have these little moments. My wife, rest in peace, it was rough. She died of cancer. Being a cannabis show, this is why, obviously it's addiction. I'll tell you where it helped. My wife wasn't a smoker. They tried to give her all these pills for, motion sickness and all that because of chemotherapy. She would just take a couple hits. She was already done eating and everything when they were sitting. And I remember she goes, let me get a little hit. She was already weeks from going. And I remember we had some cake, and I remember she goes, I want a piece of that cake. That moment right there made me want not only that fight for me to live longer for myself, for my kids, I also saw the beauty on that, how that helped my wife in a minute to have that second of happiness. That sparked me, like, my wife had a moment of thinking, wow, that's great for this. And my son, I got to kill this for my son. I got to do this for my son. That moment, I was able to have a little moment of happiness during the worst times for my wife. Yeah. I let that feed me. All right, Hoy, you got to turn up.
You got to get it.
You got to get it. Whatever it is you got to do, you got to do. And I had to watch myself, because out there, I had a lot of people around me partying, and it was, for a minute, it looked like I could have.
Yeah.
Because I was in another country, fighting to keep my son in a place where I didn't know the language, and I was by myself. There was a couple times I partied, where I found myself like, okay, maybe you might want to chill, because this is wartime. There's a lot of serious stuff going on, and I knew myself to know, like, I'm not on point.
Yeah,
on that. Yeah. And I also say, this is gonna make me. I'm not that guy. I'm the smoker guy. That's it. I'm not even the weed, the beer guy. That ain't me. And I know myself. When you know yourself, this ain't me. Mm-hmm. And then I had to catch myself, and I said, okay, you got to chill out. Even early on with partying, I had to choose pick what I had to do. It was too much, the lifestyle and whatever. And again, I had people I love that loved me. I'm lucky I came with people that loved me, family. I wanted them to be proud of me. Yeah. So it kept me a little bit more in check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's and maybe with that, even thinking about like that, maybe people out there that don't have family, but you got friends, maybe you, as a friend, you might want to reach out to some of your boys and maybe say something that we talked about. It's hard for us to say, like about losing weight, but it might help, because it might people might need to see that somebody gives a fuck about them. Yeah. I didn't see it till right now, till we talking about it. I say, yeah, they might say, hey, this guy gives a fuck about me, They might need that, where it would have been weird maybe for me to bring it up to you, because it ain't something you talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a weird subject, I have many friends that I was like, yo, chill out with the partying. you know, and then I had to watch it because some of these guys were the guys I put on.
Yeah.
You know, again, it was like I learned. It's like, man, and living with that, and some of these guys got really bad, and I was like, kind of, you know, fault on me, and I learned. I was like, man, you know, I know this could go, and when you hear, you know, I know I've been around too much of that. You know, a lot of my friends, we lost a lot of brothers and stuff. You know, oh, the minute you see somebody, oh yeah, I'm 3 weeks straight. Okay, you're blasted. You know, I already know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The minute you give me your whole agenda for whatever right away, and I, you know, people that are really trying to work on themselves, they kind of separate. You got to get away from what gets you there.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
You got to change it up.
The alcoholic, you can't hang out. Unfortunately, you cannot.
Yeah. I thought I'd still be able to go in the bars and hang out.
Yeah, some people can, but some people can't. I get it. Like, you know, don't put me in a room full of Big Macs and you expect me not to eat a Big Mac.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Spend enough time in the barbershop, you get a haircut.
Yeah. You know how you do that same way. How you don't eat sweets, you don't keep them in your house, right?
Right.
Oh, sweet. Why we do that? Because we know. You do that with life, but people don't choose that. Oh, because I want to go to the bar. Okay, well, you want to go to the bar more than get your shit together. That's more important right now for you?
Yeah.
Well, then, my friend, your priorities are not, you know, you guys, that's on you.
Yeah, I think the moral of that story is that your list of priorities, it's either gonna benefit you or hurt you.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah, no,
you get that list every day when you wake up, you know, for sure.
And especially why you think there's podcasts like this on record. You're not the only person going through it.
No.
There's millions.
Yeah.
Millions of people, like people listening now that don't know what to do, feel they got nowhere to go, feel their situation is the worst.
Yep.
That's why you got to get on and listen to these. I had to search for it and hear other stories. You realize, man, there's a lot worse stories and you hear how people overcome it. And that also tells you, man, you know what? I got a chance. Oh, wow. Look at what happened. You'd be surprised with that. Even subconsciously, it goes in you. You absorb it.
No,
you know, almost
definitely.
like, oh, there's a chance.
Yep.
There's a chance. Yo, for me, I was, in another country, brand new father. My son ain't even out. They're telling me my wife's got a year to live. I'm in another country. Their family was trying to take them from me behind my back. I had to sneak out the country with my son, bring my son, raise him, me, my brother, then my mother raised him. You know, I had to do a lot of stuff. Bottom line is, you look at what you got to look at what everybody's life is different. You got to look at what's your life, what matters to your life, and what you want to accomplish. Everybody has something they like to do, whatever. For me, I had my son. I said, my son's my everything.
Yeah.
So my priorities, what I got to do, from my grind to what I do, from making music to my podcast to the shows I do, is all passion, but it's all driven by this is for my son. This is for my sons. This keeps me in check. To keep me on a straight path to see my sons get old. I want to see my sons with white hair.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to see that.
Well, you're on the right path.
You
man.
know,
You're on the right path.
and for real, for everybody, listen. The one thing, the internet is beautiful for that. There's billions of stories, and dive in. And I say this with love to some of these misery stories, just to show you'd be surprised at what a human could overcome. And there's always a worse situation. There always is. It's crazy.
Always.
And it sucks that you got to look at that, but take it for the positive. Because I bet if those people could have anything out of a negative situation, if you could take something positive out of it, I would like that. I tell my story. I was never these people who would talk about my wife passing and all that, because it really ain't people's business. But I learned when I was getting my stuff together, if I didn't hear other people's stories, I wouldn't have got that strength.
You're going to pull it.
And I learned that, you know what? Okay, Hoya, enough of your own ego. You don't want to say it because you feel, for whatever reason. There's a lot of people out there that could use that, and maybe even some of your close people that you don't know about. So I started talking about it more. And then I had people that heard this, people that were close to me that I knew for years, they came out of nowhere and were like, yo, man, that shit, thanks for talking about it. And I was like, man, I'm glad I did. And then I learned, okay, it ain't my thing so much to always talk about, poor me kind of shit. But I kind of say it out there because I was on kind of on that tip, and then realized that, you know, there's always light. You just got to look for it, you know what I mean? But there is, you know, for sure. It ain't over till it's over. That's a fact. These slogans and shit really come from something, you know?
Oh, absolutely. You know? They're not cheesy how we thought they were when we were younger. They actually apply to our lives, you know, now.
Yeah, for sure. And I learned that again, and you know that even in health, you have good gym days, bad gym days, but you know what? You're there every day.
Yeah.
You don't lose.
Right.
When you don't go, you lost that game.
Yeah.
You know, every day it's you make it part of your every day. It's an everyday fight, like the gym, you know, struggling your way. Everything is it's maintenance.
Yeah.
Is when you don't maintain your life is when it goes haywire. We don't realize that because we're so young. We let shit get haywire. When we're older, we're trying to gather everything, and sometimes it's so far blown out we can't gather it. But that's what it is. We get to an age. Okay, let's bring it all together and let's put it all here.
No, definitely.
You know?
Well, is there any, you know, this is, man,
good one.
This is a good one, man.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
I can't wait to get some of these clips out of here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Is there any, like, where can we find, like, your podcast at? Kind of just give us, you know, a quick idea of, like, where we can find your podcast, what you got going on.
Yeah, I got the Smoking Word podcast. I relaunched it during the pandemic, and I don't know, we got, I think, over 100 episodes. It's all media platforms, you know, we've even got it on YouTube. I also have another show called The Hard Corners, basically like the sports center of heavy music and culture. You know, we cover all types of heavy music, lifestyle, The Hard Corner. It's basically, we do that weekly. And also I'm dropping a new show called The Heavy Collective, basically connecting the cannabis culture with the music and lifestyle. So local business, basically traveling around different cities, checking out the cannabis, checking out the music, you know, and local businesses, and trying to bring shine to cities, and you know, and just the culture. It's all about culture, music. It all goes hand in hand. And we're going full blast on it. You know, Smoking Word TV is the network, YouTube.
Okay.
Jump on. We have a lot of things we're about to drop. We're only getting started. We were talking about it early, but we're on a mission. We're about to drop a lot of things. We got a lot of things planned, so jump along and check it out.
I love it. Love it. Anything upcoming for Madball, the band?
Well, we got two. I know there's 2 more European runs for now, and then that's about it. And everybody just basically, we're just working on the channel, building the channel up, Smoking Word TV, and we're going full blast. Look out for us in a city near you. We're trying to hit as many cities as we can till the world is legal. And then basically we just want to spread the word, connecting the dots with the music, the weed, and every lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, every lifestyle that's about, that feeds the other one.
Yep.
You know.
Everything.
But definitely, man, check it out. It's music and everything. So
I love it. Is there anything else you can think of, JC? Like, man, it's been a good episode, man.
I think it's great, man.
I didn't ask a lot of questions because he was answering them.
Yeah, I think
before I
we
get
teed him
asked.
up pretty good, and he you know, knocks some home runs out.
Trying.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate your time, Hoya. I know you're only in town for a few days from Florida, man. Like here in Vegas, man. I definitely, you know, I look forward to being involved at any capacity, really, on your projects. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And doing
no,
stuff.
thank you, both you guys, and you know what's up already, and we're gonna do something. We gotta, you know what's up. We gotta,
man.
We're gonna pop something off on this, and for sure, man. I'm glad this is definitely a cool thing you guys are doing, because it's something that got to be talked about, and from our world too, because you know, savages have problems too. Gorillas like us have feelings, and we're emotional too. You know, people think just because we listen to crazy music, that we don't love, and we don't, and we don't, you know, we don't care, and we don't feel. You know, if anything, we got more passion. That's why we show it on ourselves.
Yep.
We want everybody to see it. We gotta scream it louder.
Absolutely, man.
Nah, definitely is great. Keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully we'll be back and maybe on another platform and doing some other things.
100%, man. I like that idea.
For sure.
I like that idea. Well, thank you. And so, just like I'll end this episode like I end the rest of the episodes. If you or anybody you know is struggling with addiction, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at on the social medias, all of the social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think obviously YouTube is Raised by Wolves, RZDxWLVS. That's RZDxWLVS. If you or anybody you know is struggling with addiction, even food addiction, like we can even help you in that area.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody, and thanks for tuning in. And until next episode, peace.
Peace. Peace.
That's a good one.